meeting to order, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Karen, could you read our mission statement?
The mission of the Marshall Public School District is to educate, support, and prepare all learners for success.
Thank you. Our first item is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any additions or corrections, or not? I'll call for the vote. The agenda is approved. Next item is our public forum. Anybody in the public would like to approach the board? I don't see anybody. Presentations, the oath of office. We have three young ladies that are going to be officially on the board tonight. I got a couple things to read, and then I'm going to have each of you, all three of you, stand, and you're going to repeat some stuff after me, okay? So, it is an honor that you were elected, or it was an honor that you were appointed to guide the education of our community's children. As you recite the oath of office, you assume a tremendous responsibility as a director of our school district with the duties empowered by the Minnesota legislature. This power puts you and the other members of our school board in the position of being both morally and legally responsible for equitable, quality education of every student in the district. In carrying out this responsibility, you will be asked to fulfill the roles of vision, structure, accountability, advocacy. In providing vision, the board, with extensive participation of the community, envisions the community's educational future and then formulates the goals, defines the outcomes, and sets the course for the public schools. To achieve this vision, the board establishes a structure and creates an environment designed to ensure all students the opportunity to attain their maximum potential through a sound organizational framework. Because as a board we must be accountable to the community, we must ensure a continuous assessment of student achievement in all conditions affecting the education of our children. As board members, we serve as education's key advocate on behalf of students and our community schools to advance the vision for our schools. Furthermore, we must strive to work together with the superintendent and staff to lead the district toward fulfilling the vision we have created, fostering excellence for every student in the areas of academic skills, knowledge, citizenship, and personal development. Now, do I have to do these separate, or can they all do it at the same time? Okay. Would all stand and repeat after me. I affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and this state.
I affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will discharge faithfully the duties of office of the school board member of Independent School District Number 413 to the best of my judgment and ability.
And that I will discharge faithfully the duties of the office of the school board member of Independent School District Number 413 to the best of my judgment and ability.
It's official. Welcome. I need each of you guys to sign and take this down at the bottom where it says member. And then I'll take them back later. Our next item is a presentation by Mr. Munson, the world's best workforce.
Yeah, I like the presidential piece better.
2017-18.
So I'll just, hopefully you had a chance to look through this, but every year we try to get some information out to you about a variety of different plans that we have in place, and certainly the World's Best Workforce Plan is one of those. I think you know, most of you, with the exception of Aaron, have been around long enough to know that the 5 goals of the World's Best Workforce Plan excuse me, are listed here. A focus on all students ready for kindergarten, all students in third grade reading at grade level to close achievement gaps, to graduate all students, and to ensure that all students are career and college ready. So we have to write plans that have goals for those specific 5 aspects that are in legislation. We also need to have a comprehensive strategic plan that we publish. We need to hold an annual meeting. Typically, we've done that in December, but I think this year we're going to do that a little bit earlier. And then there's also a summary that gets submitted to the Department of Education. A couple things that I wanted to mention about our plan. We've continually been trying to revise our plan as we go along. Not because we want to make it easier to reach our goals, because that's really the second piece on here. I think we write aggressive goals that stretch us, that push us to, at times, not make our goals. But we feel like it's the right things to do for our students. But we revise our goals and our plans to really take a look at what's working and why and what's not working, and try to incorporate those things together. We also have revised our plans or our plan based on input from the Department of Education, and really trying to align and match up our goals with what the Department of Education says. When I look at other districts' World's Best Workforce plans, there's some really good ones out there, and there's some that are pretty easy and the goals aren't very aggressive. So I don't feel like we're doing that, and I think that our staff and administration work very hard on these. We continue to try to align the World's Best Workforce plan with our site continuous improvement plans obviously at each site, with the professional goals that our licensed staff have, that are also that our administrative staff has, and certainly within our QCOM plan. In fact, when I talk about alignment this year now, the World's Best Workforce summary from 2017-18 and the Achievement and Integration summary from 2017-18 are combined together into one document. So they obviously, being the Department of Education, is really looking for that alignment between everything that's going on. That's a message we've heard for many years, and we certainly rely on the Department of Education significantly to provide the data for us that we use in our World's Best Workforce plan. One frustration, and I'll show you this on a later screen, that I think we have with some of the data that we got from the Department of Education about a year ago, is that it changed between last year when we wrote our goals and this year when we went to look at what it should have been last year. So even though we didn't make one of our goals, the numbers were kind of off a little bit, and that information and data came right from the Department of Education. Not their fault. I'm guessing that there were access scores or some sort of state assessments that hadn't been included in the data that we looked at a year ago, and that was maybe rolled into that in November or December after we'd already written our goals. But
They changed the target.
you could say that, Bill. Although I don't know if they changed the target, they changed what was included in the data that we used to set our goal. So I'm not going to blame it on them. It's just been a little bit frustrating because, like I said, we put a lot of stock in the data that we get. So our goal for...
It changed the target, my opinion. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So our goal for Ready for Kindergarten, we use something called the Work Sampling Online System Assessment that's given in the spring. And our goal was this year, I believe it was the first year that we used this tool to measure if students are ready for kindergarten. Our goal was that 70% of 3 and 4-year-old students would be ready for kindergarten, and we were at 69.1%. So we fell just short of that goal. I've talked to Tiffany. She's really optimistic that we can exceed that goal, and actually what she wants to set now for 2018-19 is higher than 70%. So we just about made that, but did not make that. Reading well by third grade, we had hoped that 67% of our third grade students would be at or above the grade level mean, If you think back to discussions that we've had at board meetings, we're really focusing on cohorts of students and trying to see continual growth in that graduating class. So that 67% would have been a 3% increase in 2 years ago. The second graders, they would have been at 64% plus the 3% increase. We didn't see that. We saw 57, almost 58% of third grade students last year were at or above the mean RIT. So that's something we need to work on. Achievement gaps, this is where the number changed from the Department of Education. A year ago, our achievement gap between white and non-white students was 32.4%. We wanted to decrease that to 29.4%. When I went to look at the numbers a week or so ago, last year's gap was actually 29.2%, but it did increase to 32.5%. So the 32.4 that we were using sort of as our starting point, in a year that changed to 29.2 because of something happening with the Department of Education's, what they were including in their assessment. So not a big deal. At the end of the day, again, we did not make this goal, and it's something that we continue to look at, not just in the World's Best Workforce Plan, but in the Achievement and Integration Plan, certainly in our personal growth plans that our administrators and our teachers have as well. So it's definitely something that's on our radar. Graduating all students, the fourth goal area, we had a goal to increase. This was a multi-year goal to increase our graduation rate by next year to 95% using the 5-year rate for the high school. We're only at 88.4%, so that's something that we're going to really need to dig into and take a look at our action plans and see what we can come up with for that. However, at Maytech, we also wanted to increase our graduation rate during the same time period over the course of 3 years, up to 58% using the 6-year rate, and we exceeded that. We were at 71.4% last year, according to the MDE school report card. So we made part of this and didn't make part of this, but it's a multi-year goal, so we still have another year before we'll actually put our final check in the yes or no box for this, if that makes sense to everybody. College and career readiness. We really focused on 2 statements, making sure that our Ramp Up to Readiness program helps students to explore what careers they may be good at. Our goal was that almost a little over 73% of the students would indicate that Ramp Up to Readiness helps them with that. And on last year's 9th through 12th grade survey results, 77.5% of the students indicated that. So we met that part of the college and career readiness goal. Then the second statement was, does the post-secondary plan portion of Ramp Up to Readiness help them to understand how to make plans for life after high school? Again, our goal was just a little bit less than 80%, and we ended up at 82.4%. So we made our career and college readiness goals, which that's a good thing. Next steps for us, Jeremy and I met today and are talking about now we need to fill out our summary from 2017-18 and get that ready to submit to the Department of Education. We do have the opportunity with the World's Best Workforce Plan to modify it and say, okay, we need to shuffle the deck here a little bit and take a more realistic look at something or figure out what we can do to make sure that we're still pushing ourselves, but hopefully reaching our goals in these 5 areas. We'll do that based on some feedback that we received a year ago from the Department of Education. We'll certainly dive into the results even more, and then we're going to have a variety of internal discussions taking place with administration and our stakeholder advisory committee. Talked about we need to hold our public meeting. I think we're going to do that in sometime in October. Early October might be a little bit too aggressive, but we definitely want to do it earlier than we did last year in December. And then obviously we sort of roll over our 2017-18 plan into 2018-19, but yet we also realize that we're going to be making some changes to our plan as we transition into 2018-19. So Do you have any questions, or is there anything that I can enlighten you additionally on? It's a requirement, as you know, world's best workforce is, and we're going to continue to work hard at trying to figure out what we can do better, and also work hard at making sure we're doing things well, continue to do things well that we're already doing well. So,
Thank you, Mr. Benson. Next item is approval of our consent agenda. I need a motion.
we'll move.
I'll second.
Any questions or additions to the consent agenda? I'll call for the vote. That is approved. Financial report, Mr. Karen.
Just a summary of the different funds, the bills that we would like requesting you to approve. One of the things, just to point out, the community service looks a little high. We are the financial or the fiscal host for ABE, and the funds actually come through for a couple of the other regions, which we pay out 5 times a year. So one of the payments went out to Grand Falls and Worthington for their ABE program, their funds. I think that was around $129,000 of that $158,000. So we're requesting that you approve the $1,299,534.78.
Thank you. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Thanks, Bill. Any questions? Call for the vote. The bills are approved. Treasurer's report. Do you want to?
The second one, Trish, if you could, yep. So we have 2 reports. That one gives a little more detail. This gives a snapshot of the last 4 years. Up at top, I should have just put August 31st because it's August 31st of each fiscal year. Just kind of gives you an idea of the trends for each fund balance. It's healthy over the years.
That's good. Next item, board forum. Does anybody from the board have any updates or reports?
I attended the Phase 3 and Phase 4 training on Friday and Saturday at Maple Grove by MSBA. It was very well done. Very well done. In fact, as you know, those of you that have attended that in the past, the breakup on the scenarios was very good. One recommendation made by our group with regard to the 200 series of policies, we felt that they need to spend some time on that when you go to Phase 1. So we as new board members have an understanding what our responsibilities are under the 200, because each of us there said, well, I didn't have any that input coming on board. And the staff who were there, the 4 who were there, said that that's good input. They could, in the Phase 1, they could add like 20 minutes to review it to make sure that everybody reads the 200 series policies and knows, hey, this is your job. It was good. The 2 days were very good. So
Scott and I attended the MSBA advocacy tour. It sounds like they're going to focus on this coming year things that didn't get done last year. So cross subsidy and money on the formula and the teachers shortage crisis, which is getting worse and worse all the time. So
what did they say about cross subsidy? Because that was huge discussion around the
well, they're just going to
lunches.
try to correct it somehow.
I think there's universal support for it, Bill, although the election seen in November could change that. But I think a lot of people understand that it's a challenge and it continues to grow for school districts, the amount of unsubsidized money that we spend on special education students, which they absolutely need to be educated. Nobody argues that. But the state and the federal government have not met their obligations. So I think the MSBA feels like there's pretty widespread support for doing something to start to address the cross subsidy. I don't remember the dollar amount, Matt, but like a 5% change in cross-subsidy would eat up, I'm going to say like a third or a half of the projected surplus, state surplus for next year. So it is expensive to address. One of the things that,
It's 5%.
yeah,
Well, and as we all know, sitting here, it's the feds who really have come up short. They promised 40% back in 1976, and we're not even close to that. What are we at from the feds, 18?
I would say that would be generous. I think
18%?
probably
That's huge.
13 to 15.
You know, and I don't know how anyone approaches the Congress to make changes. Really, they haven't got their act together, so I don't know if that'll happen. Well, it's sad. It's a sad statement.
It is.
You get to vote in November.
Anybody else?
We had Brighton Tiger Foundation retreat last week, and there will be a committee going over the fund request. I think all that stuff was due, and so they'll kind of put that together. I think we'll know in October. I think the letter's out.
Next item, administrator's report.
So in my report, some positive feedback about the new teacher orientation and back to school workshop week. We survey our staff every year and ask them for input on that. And I think the feedback that we received was positive. Matt, you talked about the advocacy tour meeting on September 11th. Deanna, I think we go to MREA's regional meetings, which is kind of the same thing next Tuesday, maybe, if I'm not mistaken, in Montevideo. So it's kind of professional organizations' time to get organized and figure out what they want to do when the session starts in January or whenever it is. Tiffany's report, really Tiffany, Darcy, Jim, I think several, Mary Kay may have had information in her report. There was, in those reports, there was information about assessment days. I know in the past you folks have had some questions about those, so make sure and take some time to read through all of those. In Tiffany's report, she also provided details just about a variety of different events and activities that are happening or have taken place in early childhood. Darcy's report, in addition to the assessment day information, she just had additional start of the year information and some pictures. In Jim Gagner's report, he had information about new staff members, including new to West Side staff members. There aren't a lot of new folks at West Side, but there are some new faces there. Mary Kay's report, in addition to other things, contained information about middle school ambassadors and what they do to help at the start of the school year with new students, and also some good information in there about student goal setting and sort of an overview and working with kids to set goals and then to revisit those this year, which is really a positive idea, I believe. Brian's report had information about Link Crew activities where they help incoming 9th grade students. Also information about advanced placement courses, primarily from 2017-18, but some information in there about sort of historical perspectives regarding AP courses. And then he also shared that CNA, I think there are 2 CNA courses taking place at Maytech right now with a partnership with Minnesota West. Bruce Remy's report, information about the M Club 5K, and also on October 13th at 6 p.m. at the Red Baron Red Baron Arena and Expo Center, there will be 4 new inductees into the M Club Tiger Hall of Fame. So if you haven't heard about that, you can purchase tickets, I believe, at the high school in the office. Jackie's report, some staffing updates on special education staff, and then also information about the new behavior coach position that, was approved. Jeremy's report contains information on some pretty important PLC work, which several of our principals included in their reports, and also QComp, and then some information on the curriculum review that's taking place. And in Beth Ritter's report as EL director, she included information about work that's happening with and by staff, including EL teachers and parent-student connectors. And then she also shared information about a program called Imagine Learning, which is a literacy program for pre-K through 6th grade students that really hones in on those foundational skills. So if you haven't taken time to read the administrator's reports, please do so, and I can answer questions if you have any.
I had several teachers say how much they appreciated time during workshop week to be in their classroom, more so than ever before, and they really appreciated that. So I don't know how you organized that, but staff were very appreciative of classroom time getting ready.
Move on to Dion's report.
Just touch on a few things in my report. Marshall Public Schools received the 2018 School Finance Award. Awards given out for the meeting certain deadlines and auditing financial data. Also, I just wanted to say thank you to Tricia. We had put together an alternative walking route with the construction on Saratoga, a couple of different safe routes for the students to go since Saratoga's not, shouldn't be used. Property liability coverage, our insurance, I just wanted to kind of point that out. If we were to keep the same policies and everything, there was only a $6.28 increase from our increase over last year. So it's kind of it's a good company we work with. We did add some additional network cybersecurity that we felt was necessary policy. Pride in the Tiger, mentioned Janelle Wartner met with Scott and I to offer payroll deductions. So employees can do payroll deductions to donate to the Pride in the Tiger. And then we implemented Jean Day on Fridays to donate to the United Way, which I think has gone over very well.
Great. Get a thumbs up from down here. So.
I just wanted to point out, too, one thing that wasn't on my report, but you guys approved the $2,000 donation from SFM, our workman's comp company. It was a grant for slips, trips, and falls. We needed to purchase a salt spreader. Right now, I think we're using a grass spreader, but we're actually buying a salt spreader, and that'll pay for half of it. So,
Good. Thank you. Moving on to the school board, student school board. Would you guys just, since this is your first official meeting, just maybe introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourself or what you're involved in at the high school, maybe?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just read that if you want, Amron.
Okay, so my name's Amr Mohammed, and I'm a senior this year. I have 7 siblings, 3 brothers and 4 sisters, and I'm the third youngest with 2 younger sisters. My favorite subjects are math and science, so this year I decided to take more math and science classes. My favorite class this year would have to be college physics 1, because it makes me play around with different methods of solving, and staying busy allows me to stay on top of things, so I decided to join many activities and clubs such as Student Council, Math Team, and the Honor Society, and I'm excited for round 2 of being on the school board.
Why don't you share with the board your plans when you go to college? What is your long-range goal? Because I think it's exciting, Amron.
I'm doing an application called QuestBridge, and I want to get a full ride into either Yale, Brown, or Stanford.
There's a goal to be a doctor someday.
Yeah, ophthalmologist.
Ophthalmologist.
Hi, this is my first time here. My name is Anisa Mohammed, and I'm currently also a senior at Marshall High School. I've been in Marshall for 6 years now. I moved from Egypt, Cairo City. I'm currently fluent in 3 languages, Somali, Arabic, and English. I can speak about 27 dialogues in Arabic that are quite different. I'm currently enrolled in art club and student council. This is my first time in student board this year, so I'm quite excited. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
Sorry, I didn't have my bio because I was gone to Africa. But anyways, my name is Amina Ali, and I'm very excited to be back this year as well. I'm currently a senior at the high school, and I have 7 siblings, me being the oldest. I am from Somalia originally, but I grew up in Kenya and then came to America. I'm looking forward to this year because I'm graduating, so I'm very excited. I'm involved in speech, Cultures United, I was supposed to be in Link Crew, but didn't work out because of my trip. Student School Board, and looking forward to join a lot more as well. So yeah, I'm very happy to work with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, all of you. We're excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Next item is the discussion on the preliminary levy, and I think Mr. Karen is going to handle that.
Yeah, and this came in late today. I wanted to make sure I get the proper information in there. And saying that, the levy amount's changed since this afternoon. But we'll go off of these numbers to show you. Preliminary levy for 2018, taxes payable for 2019. What we're asking later for you guys to do is approve the maximum amount. And the reason we ask for the maximum amount is for several reasons, but one is the amounts change. Will be changing with adjustments between now and December for several different reasons. Right now, the levy itself, the total increase is 0.7% over the previous year. So again, in December, we'll actually do a truth and taxation presentation to you guys showing what the actual levy amount will be. Want to let you know, and there's some important things in this, that the levy includes all the taxes that we've levied for, which includes the ag property tax for debt services. But the ag property tax credit, which I think we all know it as the ag to school tax credit, where the ag property owners will see a reduction on their tax. They actually see a reduction on their tax statement. So the levy includes the property tax amount in it, but then the ag property owners see that credit on their property tax statement. And then the county calculates that credit and makes the adjustments to the property tax owner's statement. For 2019, they had property tax credit for Lyon County on the current voter-approved Marshall Public School building facility referendums. Won't be calculated until the levy's finalized. But last year's credits that were given was $307,362. And I talked to EJ at the county, and he felt that 2019 numbers would be fairly close to that. So I think all of you know, because we advocated for it, that's that 40% credit that ag property tax owners receive. And just so you kind of know where that goes, since we levy for it, and then it shows up on the statement, then the county then turns around and needs to get that money from the state. So taking all that into account, currently, prior to this afternoon, our increase was 0.7% increase, and that does not include the ag credit, which means if you factor in the estimated ag to school tax credit that the ag property owners will receive, our net levy will essentially be about a negative $260,283.49, or a negative 3.16% reduction over the prior year. I think it's important to include that ag credit in there because it's actually money that goes back to the ag property owners. So at the bottom there, I know it's small, we tried to do a year by year. So right in the middle there where it says percentage change, that's without the ag credit. And you can see how the percentages have gone down each year. That's the increased percent over the prior year. So if you factor in the ag credit, it shows, and it looks a little skewed, but to me it's a number that needs to be included. Shows the reduction in the levy. So again, I look forward to presenting the truth and taxation to you guys in December once we have the final levy numbers to show how it all comes together. But does anybody have any questions?
I think Deanna will cover this more in December at the truth and taxation. But as our enrollment goes up, I think in general, Deanna, and you could correct me if it's an inaccurate statement, but in general, as enrollment goes up, the amount of aid that we receive from the state increases. Consequently, our levy tends to, in many cases, go down.
Yep. That's a good point. There's several things in the levy that also has state aid to it, so the percentages fluctuate.
We look forward to hearing you in December.
Remember that, man.
Our next discussion item is the first review of policies 607 to 612. Any discussion or questions on those? Review of performance evaluation of the superintendent. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to read a summary of his performance evaluation that we did. A performance review for Superintendent Scott Munson was completed for the 2017-18 school year, and a closed session was conducted on August 20th, 2018 to discuss Superintendent Munson's performance. As part of the performance review process, an online evaluation was completed by the school board, school administration, and other district staff. This evaluation also included a self-evaluation component completed by Superintendent Munson. The evaluation consisted of 5 sections: policy and governance, instructional leadership, organizational management, professionalism, and attributes, with various ratings areas in each section. A ranking scale of 1 to 4 was used, with 1 being performance is unsatisfactory and 4 being performance exceeds criteria. Overall rankings for each category during the 17-18 school year were policy and governance 3.17, instructional leadership 3.28, organizational management 3.19, professionalism 3.33, and attributes 3.23. The overall results were good, and the school board praised various aspects of Superintendent Munson's performance, indicating that they were pleased with his performance during the 2017-2018 school year. The school board has identified 2 goals for Superintendent Munson for 18-19. These goals will be facilities planning, including safety and security, and improved student achievement. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next item is an action item, approval of the certified preliminary levy, which Dion just talked about.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. A second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Aaron. Any further discussion?
So Dion mentioned that you're certifying the maximum amount, not a specific dollar amount, because even today, when I think it went from 0.7% to 0.19% just during the day. So there are always adjustments happening to that, not adjustments that we make, but adjustments that are made at the Department of Education. So this time you certify the maximum, and then in December you'll actually, as a board, certify a specific dollar amount, but essentially a 0.2% gross tax levy increase is being proposed, which doesn't factor in the ag to school tax credit, which takes it down to a 3.67% decrease.
What are some of the factors that influence that, just out of curiosity?
It's things like student enrollment is a big part of it, Aaron. It's a 41-page document now, I believe. Student enrollment, net tax capacity, referendum market value, adjustments they'll go back and make adjustments from 2 or 3 years ago. There's just a variety of different things, and it's actually pretty interesting if you like that stuff. But part of the truth in taxation will be to really hone in on what those specific things are. And we can cover that too if you'd like sometime.
And historically, we've always levied the maximum. As long as I've been here, the 30 years with the board, we've always levied the maximum because we make the adjustments in December.
Any other questions or discussion? We'll call for the vote. And it is approved. The next item is approval of superintendent's goals for 18-19 school year. I'll make a motion. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Bill. Any further discussion on superintendent's goals?
I think that one thing that we could include is it's part of our strategic plan. Which we're in year, what, 3? Year 2 of our strategic plan. Are you comfortable with that?
Yep.
Okay, I'll call for the vote. Yeah. That is approved. We will now move to a closed meeting to discuss a student expulsion. I will make a motion and I need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. So we'll vote on that. We are now closed. The meeting is open, and now I need a motion to approve the student expulsion as recommended by Mrs. Thomas.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. I'll call for the vote.
Thanks for your work on that, Mary Kay. Those are hard ones.
And that is approved. Anything else? Not, I will adjourn the meeting. Thanks, everyone.